Welcome to another edition of Boxing Info. I'm your host, the Islander, and this is going to be like a real quick show because I know a lot of you are expecting a show every week, and I've been a little bit short-handed this week and have not been able to get a show up on Monday, which is what my intention was, is to do it on every Monday. So, in being that this is Friday, I'm obviously a few days late, and it would be ridiculous to do one next Monday. So hopefully, as Avelino always wants his wish to come true, have a show ready by Tuesday night. But it's going to be very short and brief this week. I just want to do a quick review of the light heavyweight ring championship bout in which Jean Pascal retained his WBC light heavyweight title and won the Ring Magazine vacant belt by winning a technical decision over Chad Dawson. And the thing was that, if you remember my prediction in this fight, I told you if the fight or the demeanors of both fighters were of a certain nature, the fight was going to go one way or another. And I said if Chad Dawson fought passive, Pascal was probably going to pull off the upset. If Chad Dawson applied himself, which he started to do at the end of the fight, he'd win the fight. But the thing is, right from the outset of this fight, from what I was reading, Pascal's a 4-1 underdog in this fight, fighting at home. So I guess there's been a lot of pushback about one judge's scorecard having the fight like 108 to 101. Judges get influenced by hometown underdogs actually giving the impression that they might be dominating or out hustling the top 10 fighter. To me, I thought, in my mind anyway, that Pascal was winning the fight. What became evident in my mind about the 9th and 10th round was whether he was going to be able to hold on until the very end of the fight. Which, it was rock'em sock'em back and forth in the middle rounds, but like I said, Pascal clearly dominated and out-hustled Dawson from the get-go. Whether you liked him, his aggressive bull-rushing style, he cracked Dawson with enough right hands and kept Dawson honest. Dawson just did not look like he was interested or ready. I don't know what the problem is with this guy, because all I was thinking about when I was watching the fight was, could you imagine if Dawson was in with Joe Calzaghe? If Pascal was out hustling him, what would Calzaghe do to him? We all know the answer. But Dawson's been a fairly stand-up guy. I didn't like his post-fight interview with calling this a little win for Pascal. Listen, he kicked your ass around the ring for a number of rounds. The other thing I want to warn you guys about: turn your volume down now, just low enough so that you can hear me and nobody else can, because there's 2 more things we're covering besides this, and it's going to get animated. Dawson got his ass kicked and was coming on, landing combinations, looked like he had Pascal in some trouble, but to his credit, Pascal's remained upright, and he's felt the power of Carl Froch, he's felt the power of Adrian Diacono. I kind of knew going into this fight, even though I didn't say it, that there really wasn't much that Dawson was going to do to really hurt him, show him one punch that was going to hurt him. And that being said, I think that Dawson's in his rights. I think he's got a rematch clause to go ahead and have a rematch here in the United States. But like I said before the fight, Pascal has been steadily improving, and I think Dawson has been plateauing. Can Dawson beat him in a rematch? Yeah. But the thing is, it's one thing an improving fighter's confidence keeps growing, and I was down on Pascal when I first saw him a few years back on ESPN when they'd go to do Friday night fights in Montreal on that big race weekend, and he was fighting subpar competition, and he was comparing himself to Roy Jones Jr. The next Roy Jones Jr., I was thinking, this guy ain't much. But when he stepped up in competition, he raised the level of his game, and he keeps doing it. And that's what makes it exciting. For those of you who have thanked me for, I guess, level insight, and one person wrote in and said that, was about one of the only Americans that actually gave Pascal a chance of winning. I thought he had a pretty good chance of winning, but again, it was based on Dawson, and Dawson again fighting lackadaisical like he did against Tarver in the rematch, and the safety first style that he used against Glenn Johnson in the rematch with him. So I mean, Chad Dawson's career is going to be a series of these fights, I think, where he fights, fight against a guy where he's you know, brilliant for one part of the fight and then just basically hands off, got rounds in the bank, and then they do a rematch, and it's more of the same. And you know, the only thing I can see that's going to be promising from this is to have basically a round-robin tournament between Dawson, Pascal, Butte, and maybe throw somebody else into the mix or whatnot, and just have them go. You know, I think I heard some mumblings and read something about maybe getting Kelly Pavlik in the mix. I don't think he's on level with these guys skill-wise, all around anyway. Definitely can't question, I mean, to me, his heart and his power. But, you know, with Butte, Pascal, Dawson, and even, you know, throw another guy in there like Diakonu or somebody like that. I mean, that's how basically I have to see this. You know, the division is very light right now. Cloud, throw Cloud in there. He had a decent, you know, an okay win over Johnson. You know, throw those four of them in, make them fight each other, and you know, everybody will be happy. All right, let's move away from that because I thought it was a really good win for Jean Pascal. All his fans out there, congratulations. Dawson, setback. I knew this day was coming, but didn't expect it to be last Saturday night. Okay. Other news, as most of you already know, Antonio Margarito reapplied for his license in California. Again, please heed my advice about the volume. The Ass Clown organization, the California State Athletic Commission, who allowed his hands to be wrapped the way they were with the commissioners in the room, denied him his license in a vote of 5-1, I believe. Understand this. Only 2 of the people voting of the 6 were on the original commission that suspended his license. The chairman was one of those 2 people. He's the only person voted for giving Margarito back his license. One of the other, I guess, women that was on the board claimed that Margarito was not living the straight and narrow because he was sparring in California without a sparring license. You know, leave it to the liberal POS state of California to require somebody a license to spar. What? Does this only apply to people who don't have boxing licenses, that you need a special license to spar? And is it anybody in California? Please tell me. Because that's what I'm assuming this really means, is that if you're a licensed boxer, you automatically have a license to spar. If you're not a licensed boxer, you have to get a special license to spar in the state, even though you're not licensed to fight in the state or your license has been suspended. And I'm wondering who made this clear to either Margarito or Margarito's people when they suspended his license. You know, whoever this woman is, she's got her head up her ass, obviously, because, you know, I would think it would have to be given to him verbally and in writing at the time that his license was revoked that you can no longer spar in the state unless you pay for a separate license. But nah, they just let him go ahead and do this and are using this as a way of basically keeping him from getting his license. Look, it's the California State Athletic Commission that fucked this up to begin with. And, you know, somebody had written on my channel that, you know, DelaHoya is trying real hard to get a Marquez-Pacquiao 3 fight. DelaHoya is behind all this. I've said it from day one, he's behind all this. Because Margarito fucked up his plans of fighting undefeated Cotto, who DelaHoya thought he was going to beat and ride off into the sunset and basically call it a career and basically retire with a win over a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. That's what DelaHoya's plans were. Margarito fucked it up when he fucked Cotto up. And, you know, the thing is that Golden Boy is... They're like this slime. They're like this underbelly of boxing, who's really, all they're looking to do is basically take over boxing, and their biggest obstacle is Bob Arum, Top Rank, because they've already got HBO, who's you know, basically slowly becoming a second-rate network. HBO on their side, they're in bed with them, and this is Oscar De La Hoya is behind all this. He is behind all this. You know, regardless of what was in his raps or not, which again, we're not going to get into that crap. If the second you post a comment about it, I'm fucking deleting it. And I'm fucking blocking you from ever commenting on my channel again. That's right. I've got the rights to do that, and I'm going to do it. I'm not debating this anymore. The man has done his time. California, the state of California has their head up their ass. Just look at their leaders, and you'll know why. Nancy Bella Lugosi Pelosi, ass clown. Barbara, halitosis boxer, and Diane, I think she's the one whose husband's got some dirty dealings with China, Feinstein. Just look at their leadership, and that'll tell you all you need to know about that state. For those of you in California, I apologize in advance. It's not your fault that this is happening. It's not your fault Margarito had stuff in, discs in his wraps. It's not your fault that these ass clowns on the athletic commission, although the chairman voted to give him back his license, are doing what they're doing. Neither here nor there. The question remains, will Texas give Margarito a license? The only other, it's probably 50-50 whether they will or not. Let's be honest with you. I think with the amount of revenue that a Pacquiao-Margarito fight will bring to Texas, and with Jerry Jones's leverage, they'll probably relent and give him his license. The other thing, 2 other precedents have been set before. Las Vegas denied Mike Tyson a license in 2002 after all the crazy stuff that was going on with him trying to break both his arm, the no contest with Orlin Norris, just all that craziness. And him getting into trouble with the law. They said, we're denying you your license. When push came to shove, and the fight with Lennox Lewis was to be made, the state of Tennessee licensed Mike Tyson, and they got it on in Memphis. So when money talks, things are going to happen. Next point of business. The only fight on the schedule this week that I really want to talk about is a integrated sports pay-per-view, which I've gotten a million emails about from Main Events, who used to be a major power in the promotion of boxing. They are Tomas Adamek's promoter, and again, at Newark, New Jersey, he's taking on Adamek-Grant in a 12-round heavyweight fight. Joel Julio scheduled to be on the undercard against a gentleman named Jamal Davis. Expect Julio to bounce back from his defeat to Angulo. Now, Grant against Adamek. 10 years ago we would have said this is going to be a whitewash in Grant's favor, but as everybody knows, as this turns out, Grant is really a gentle giant, and technically, in my mind anyway, he was hung out to dry and should have been stopped and knocked out by Andrew Golota in his fight leading up to Lennox Lewis. But he made it through that fight and got everybody excited that he was going to be the next great thing. Well, we all know how that went. His career went spiraling downward. He had Teddy Atlas as a trainer for a little while. Teddy did the smart thing by getting him a few fights off TV before getting him back on TV, and then the Dominic Gwynn fight happened to him where he got knocked out in that fight. And he's just, for a guy as big and athletic as he is, it's just, you got to be able to take a shot and you got to be able to stay in there. What do I expect to happen in this fight? Adamek has been fighting more of a mindful kind of game since he has stepped up to heavyweight. This fight is either going to go the way his fight went with Adamek's fight went with Golota, where he hits Grant and he's going to send him away, or it's going to go more the way 2 fights ago went, where he wins a relatively safe but contentious decision. Because I don't see Grant winning this fight. I don't see how Grant can win this fight. Adamek is faster. Adamek is all around tougher, and I fully expect Adamek to either win going away by a decision or win by a stoppage. And I'd be surprised if it's going to be any other way. That's going to do it for this show. I'll try to get back next week, sometime in the middle next week, and we'll recap this fight and go forward from there. Thanks, everybody.